Welcome back to Vlogmas. We're on day 9. My cat is currently trying to get settled in my lap, so give him just one moment, please. Today we're going back to my cinematic roots. I know I've been talking about books for a week now because it's an obsession, but let me talk to you about some film. I'm gonna go through 20 films and tell you whether you should or should not watch them by the end of the year. I'm gonna do a rapid round of yes and no if you just want that and don't care about my commentary. And then I'll expand a bit further after that. Let's get started, shall we? Starting off strong with Kinds of Kindness. No. Gladiator 2. Yes. Terrifier 3. Yes. Blink Twice. Oh yes. We Are Zombies. Yes. The Wild Robot. Yes. Cuckoo. No. It's What's Inside. Yes. Moana 2. Yes. Heretic. Yes. Caddo Lake. Yes. Our Little Secret. Yes. Strange Darling. Yes. Dee Dee. Yes. Afraid. No. I mean, do I even need to say it? Fuck yes. The Front Room. No. Juror number 2. No. The Substance. Yes. Hot Frosty. No. Let me just start with it. If you haven't seen the other Terrifiers, 1, you can skip. 2, I think is fantastic. You should definitely see it before this one because it sets this one up. The 1 is basically a one-off. It really is just to introduce this character, Art the Clown. 2 has characters that will show up in 3, so you kind of need to know what is going on. I thought it was funny. I love that it's set around Christmas. Art can just have a grand old time. I was very surprised that he is not afraid to kill children. That was terrifying. Yep. There's a scene where a kid opens a present and it's a bomb. Yeah, you don't see anything too graphic, but the first scene is a lot. It's exactly the type of scene that you would expect from a movie in this category of blood spray horror. Narratively, I feel like it lost its footing just a little bit. I'm not completely sure where it's going. And of course, at times it was very hard to watch, but it's certainly entertaining. If you don't want to watch it, then let me just tell you, my favorite kill was when this man, he got chainsawed up the ass. Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot. Moving on. Let me just talk about this very briefly because I'm sure people are going to have questions. I did not like this. There were parts of it that I did like, but I just didn't get it. And that's okay. I wouldn't call myself a huge Yorgos fan, but I'm also not a hater. I think the perspective that he brings to film is very interesting, but I didn't get what he was trying to say in this. I feel like the trailer itself is a lot more appealing than the movie actually was. I mean, I found one of my favorite new songs, Brand New Bitch. I couldn't stop singing it. So the entire film, I'm like, I'm searching for the same thrill that I experienced when I watched the fucking trailer, because it played a billion times in the theaters, and I'm just not finding it. And the stories actually could have gone somewhere interesting, but they just fizzled out for me. This is not my type of gig, but it's Paul Mescal with big arms, Pedro Pascal, Denzel Washington. It's the follow-up to one of the most well-known films of all time, and it came out the same day as Wicked, so I really feel like it's necessary viewing. Now, this movie goes exactly where you wouldn't expect it to. As soon as you think you have figured out what the fuck is going on, something else happens and it completely messes up your theory. Halfway through, I was like, okay, I get it. Yep, I see where this is going. And then, oh. Shout out to that ending. The ending was not what I was expecting, and I loved it. Honestly, the less you know about this before watching it, the better. I gotta talk about We Are Zombies for a second. Most of you will probably not know what this movie even is. This is an indie camp horror from Canada. You can stream it on Screambox or rent it on Prime Video. Run, don't walk to see this movie. If Terrifier 3 is a little too much for you, you want a little bit of a notch down with some more heartwarming humor, then We Are Zombies is for you. I watched this right after watching Borderlands, which was an absolute disaster and didn't even make it on this list of things to see and to not see. If you don't get it by now, don't see it. I watched this directly after, so I had high expectations because I was hypercritical for the past 2 hours. And I was pleasantly surprised at how good this is. This movie follows 3 friends in a world where we live alongside cannibal zombies. One of their grandmas gets kidnapped because of money one of them owes, so they go and try to save her. So their mission is to get enough money to pay the people and get grandma back. And in the meantime, something is causing the cannibal zombies around town to turn into extremely dangerous cannibal zombies. So along the way, these friends have to cut a few in half. The humor in this was perfect. It is filled with just enough camp, cliche, and cheese. I found myself genuinely laughing so many times. It didn't go where I expected it to go. The cast of characters is really something you just gotta witness yourself. And this man in the middle, he is just easy on the eyes. I'm just gonna say that. There's a light love story involved, but it's just light enough to not distract you from the main premise. I really do think this is one of my favorite movies of the year. The Wild Robot. I mean, look at this shit. The robot is hugging all the animals. In October, I was sick for a few days and I just could not read. It was one of those, So I pulled up my little kid's book, The Wild Robot, and read it. And listen, when I got to the end, I said, where's the next book? I'm ready to purchase. Here's my card. The Wild Robot escapes? Can't wait. So the fact that they turned this really sweet, heartwarming, compassionate story into something I can watch? Oh, I'm there. This film is genuinely what everyone needs right now. Next is Cuckoo. Hunter Schafer is fantastic. I want to see her in more movies. Dan Stevens plays this brooding, creepy hot villain who is running some kind of experiment situation at a resort that he owns. A lot of the ideas did not feel fully fleshed out. Even the twist at the climax, when we start to put all of the pieces together, I felt like the puzzle that we got was underwhelming. It's what's inside. This is along the same vein as Blink Twice. I am not going to say very much about this because you really need to know nothing before watching this. Just know this shit is going to make you think in the best way. It's going to feel like you're watching fucking Challengers again, like but all these other directions. But it's on Netflix, so you can pause, you can rewind, take your time, enjoy the experience. You might feel like you're tripping on drugs during certain parts. Really well done. Moana 2, I haven't seen it yet, but it's Moana 2. Alright, it's the sequel to one of the most successful animated films of all time, especially when it comes to streaming. For several years, Moana has been the #1 title of all streaming services. And I'm always here for more Pacific Islander representation. So I'm glad that they made a sequel, but I'm not happy about the live adaptation of Moana or Lilo and Stitch. I'm gonna say it right now. I don't like the idea. I don't like the execution of what we've seen so far, and my hopes are not high. But just go and see this and have a good old time. Heretic. I really thought I had this shit mapped out, not from the beginning, but about midway through. But then these girls were spitting facts. Like their characters were very intelligent and they were trying to outsmart him at every step. Hugh Grant, this time last year, this man was a fucking Oompa Loompa. And now he's in an A24 thriller which dissects religion and humanity. The man's got range. Caddo Lake, I'm not saying much about this either because you need to go in blind. All you need to know is Eliza Scanlon's in it. She's from Sharp Objects. Dylan O'Brien is in this. This is for people who like a good mystery, who love to sit there and try to figure out what the fuck is going on. I was lost for most of the movie, and when it ended, I just sat back and just felt the vibes. The atmosphere that this movie creates, especially in the final act, is intense. It weighs heavy on you. I had to sit there really for a second and ponder my existence. And I felt changed, like I was never gonna be the same person again. Our Little Secret, it's low stakes. It's a Netflix Christmas film starring the Lindsay Lohan, who had a movie come out this time last year, so I think she's just gonna keep making Christmas movies and Disney properties. As well as Ezra from Pretty Little Liars, who has aged like fine wine, baby. And speaking of secrets, Pretty Little Liars, that was nasty that they really had this man have a relationship with one of his teenage high school students. And we all just watch it like, oh my God, what if that was me? That's called children can't give consent. That's called an inappropriate relationship. That's called, how was that allowed in television? It was a different time, but it wasn't that far away. Okay, regardless, this is real cute, and there's a lot of terrible Christmas movies that you could watch on Netflix, and this is one of the better ones. Okay, clearly we're seeing a theme here. This is another thriller that I can't tell you much about either. Go into it blind. It's Kyle. He's gorgeous as ever. Willa Fitzgerald is brilliant. Stunning. Career-defining performance. I didn't see anything she was in before this, and I thought, holy shit, this is the next it girl. This film is a series of unfortunate events, quite honestly. You don't see what's coming, and the ending shocked me. Dee Dee, truly one of the best films of the year. This follows a teen as he navigates his strange adolescent life growing up in the late 2000s. This hits home for me because this kid was out here using camcorders and messaging on AIM, making a face, but it's just all of it. Nostalgia in a bottle for me. Dee Dee is Taiwanese and he has to navigate this strange relationship and a breakdown that he's having with his culture. He's 13, he's trying to be cool, I get it, because of people around him poking at him with microaggressions. So he tries to navigate this very complex and complicated issue with an immaturity and curiosity only found within kids this age. This is another film that does a fantastic job at crafting an environment and an atmosphere that you can get lost in. I felt transported to 2008. The director Sean Wang also did a piece with the New York Times, a short film that he directed that's on YouTube. I suggest you go and watch it before or after you go and see this film. I just cannot wait to see what this director does next. This film is more than just an intricate character study, and I really think you're going to enjoy it. Afraid, just no. It's by Blumhouse, and Blumhouse is just churning these movies out. It could have gone somewhere thought-provoking, but all the air really just blew out of that balloon. Wicked. I've seen it 2 times already. My sister has seen it 5 times already. That's a lot for any movie. This movie has left me speechless both times. It is exactly what fans of this musical needed for a film adaptation. Stage to film can be quite floppy. For example, Dear Evan Hansen, but on the other end of the spectrum, we've seen it done very well with In the Heights. The reality is, this started as The Wizard of Oz, then became Wicked the Book by Gregory Maguire, which then became the stage production with music by Stephen Schwartz, starring Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth. It became an international sensation that transcended just the Broadway community. It's a cultural phenomenon, and the impact this film is having is nothing less than what I expected. I might make a full video on this later this week, but Cynthia and Ariana were indescribable. They were truly at the top of their game. The only thing that I didn't like about this film was that we have to wait a whole year to get the second part. I'm not ready to watch For Good, so maybe I do need a year to prepare myself. 5-star watch, one of the best films of the year. The Front Room, this is another A24 film, and I love Brandy. She looks incredible. She has not aged a day. On the other hand, this bitch certainly has, and she was great as well. Like, she really played that part. But I just, by the end of it, I was just like, why did we watch this? What did we learn from this? What, were we entertained? I don't think so. At one point, this old woman shits herself in the bed. There's a tingle in the air the whole time, but ultimately it just completely fell short. And really, I don't think it's worth a watch. If you're craving old people horror, honestly, just go see The Visit. Juror number 2, the delicious Nicholas Hoult is in it. He leads with a great performance. This is directed by Clint Eastwood, most likely one of his last films, and according to many people, one of his best films. Which I agree, it was good. It kept me on the edge of my seat. It was suspenseful. I just did not like how it was wrapped up. It was like a lot of false endings. And ultimately, I don't... There were a lot of scenes that were trying to be like 12 Angry Men. A jury sitting in a room and we kind of get the behind the scenes of deliberations. But even that, it's an easy choice if you're scrolling around and trying to find something to watch for 30 minutes. Definitely watch it if you just can't find anything else, but I wouldn't see it again. The Substance, another 5-star watch. I didn't know what to expect with this film. I didn't really know what it was about going into it, other than something about she's gonna get younger somehow. Now, I'm wincing because the body horror it's intense. There's a lot of squelching, blood, cutting, nails peeling off. If you don't like any of that, but you can at least stay for the story, then just cover your eyes through the hard moments. Andrew certainly had to. But I think artistically, this was just what the year needed. It's bizarre, grotesque, intelligent. It has a lot to say. When the movie's over, you'll find yourself with a ton of questions, a lot to dissect. And the performances in this film are phenomenal. Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, wow. I would love to see a sequel. And the director, Coralie Fargiat, she is one to watch. And I'm sure her phone is ringing off the fucking hook. She is booked and blessed for the rest of her life. And finally, Hot Frosty. Like, what? Look at this picture even. They're not even comfortable. Yes, that's Ted from Schitt's Creek. Yes, he is hot as fuck in this movie and his muscles are unbelievable. But this is not good. It's not even good for a fun comfort watch. It's not a Christmas heartwarming film that I would turn on ever again. These two have zero chemistry, and that is the first requirement in a rom-com. Look out for a video later this month with my 5-star watches, the best films I've seen this year. Some were not on this list. Mahalo for watching. I hope I've inspired you to watch a film today, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.